Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Weather Forecast Center. This is John here to give you a latest on the current conditions out there and the upcoming forecast in the next 7 days. Uh, right now, I have the radar up, and we have some. Uh, let's let's try this again. We're going to do this in that color. So we have some showers and thunderstorms here in the southeast and into Florida. The showers that are here are retrograding to the west, um, and could pose some showers for coastal areas of South Carolina later on this afternoon into this evening. We also have a batch of showers here into Missouri, and we also have some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two here in the UP of Michigan and Wisconsin. Light showers developing here across Minnesota and North Dakota. We have a batch of showers and thunderstorms here in eastern Texas. Um, we have these rotating bands of showers here in the northwest, and we have some showers developing here in Arizona and New Mexico, one of which has prompted a severe thunderstorm warning here for 60-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-size hail. And we have some showers here that are developing and moving to the north into from Idaho into Montana. The SPC outlook for today, there is now a slight risk of severe thunderstorms here in northwestern Montana. Let me get my notes together here. 2 out of 5 risk for Montana. There is a 15% chance of winds exceeding 60 miles an hour. Um, I project that the maximum winds could go as high as 75 miles an hour. I'm outlining the marginal risk areas. The marginal risk surrounds the slight risk area, which is from eastern Washington State, northeastern Oregon, down basically the rest of Montana, through much of Idaho, Wyoming, far western Dakotas, uh, western toward western Nebraska, um, into western Kansas, into northern sections of Oklahoma, and then you got this other piece, that other side that comes down through much of Utah into northern Arizona and western Colorado into western Wyoming, while central Wyoming is void of any kind of uh, risk area. And there's also a marginal risk area down here in southeastern Arizona. Um, I will show you the risk for these. Um, so the tornado threat is less than 2%. Um, the wind outlook, 15% chance of hail exceeding 60 hail. Wind. Sorry, let's try this again. 15% chance of wind exceeding 60 miles an hour here in Montana in the slight risk area, and everywhere else is 5% chance of winds exceeding 60 miles an hour. And this marginal area here in southeastern Arizona. What I'm drawing here is basically a number where I think the max winds will max out at. So max winds possibly up to 75 miles an hour in the slight risk area. In the marginal risk area, 65 miles an hour will be the max. And also here in Arizona. The hail risk for today, in the brown shaded areas, there are 5% chance of hail up to 1 inch in diameter, and that will pretty much be the max hail size for today. Tomorrow's risk, there is 2 marginal areas. One is in southeastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, much of Colorado, and into northwestern New Mexico, and also a little marginal risk area here for west central Missouri. In the outlined areas that I've outlined on your screen, there is a 5% chance of wind exceeding 60 miles an hour in both marginal areas, with a max wind of 65 miles an hour being possible in those marginal risk areas. As far as hail is concerned, there's a 5% chance of hail up to 1 inch in diameter. That is for western Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, and far southeastern Wyoming for up to 1 inch in diameter hail. As for Sunday, there is a 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. 1 out of 5 marginal risk area for New Mexico, Colorado, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, and Minnesota. In the, wow, they just updated this. Okay, so they updated this and extended further south. Okay, so they they just upgraded this a little bit and moved it farther south. It was not in my notes, but pretty much everything is status quo for the rest of that. So there is a 15% chance of significant severe weather in the slight risk area for Sunday, and a 5% chance of significant severe weather in the marginal risk area. And for days 4 through 8, there is now a slight risk of severe weather, 2 out of 5 for South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. As far as hazards are concerned, that will be detailed in the next couple of days. So now I'm going to show you the upper level wind speeds and where high and low pressures are situated at this time this afternoon. This was as of 2 o'clock. There is a 995 millibar low here in Idaho that is going into Montana later this afternoon, which will promote the showers and thunderstorms in Montana this afternoon. There's also a upper level low here situated along the Pacific coast in the northwest that has been providing the showers this afternoon in Oregon and Washington. There is also a departing upper low here that's been plaguing the Northeast with the cooler weather and the showery weather for the last several days. And that is promoting the showers that are in Maine today. Your high pressure system here is over over Texas, which continues to pump hot air into the southern plains. And there is now a low trying to develop here off the coast of Florida along the Gulf Coast. Here, I would say just south of the Florida Panhandle. That will be something to watch in the coming days. High pressure here in the mid-Atlantic is shifting offshore. This stronger winds here is what's going to promote the enhanced severe weather this afternoon in Montana. This is a look for as of tomorrow's weather. You have a low pressure system that is leaving to the north and east into Canada tomorrow with a cold front that's draped down through Washington and Oregon and northern California. You got a stronger belt of flow coming up to the north from the south, from the southwest to the northeast, and that will promote showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow. Um, high pressure here down in Texas. Continues the hot weather down in the southern plains. High pressure still off the mid-Atlantic coast. And another high pressure that is backfilled, that is heading retrograding back to the west from the Atlantic Ocean. And this low that is developing here south of Florida is now in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, which will be monitored in the coming days. The pattern is as such. Kind of an omega pattern. You got your trough here in the west, then you got your bulge of your ridge here in the plains, and then your um, trough here in the northeast. So this is your pattern for Sunday. You have a 1,003 millibar low that is in North Dakota. You have a high pressure system that is moved out of Texas and is now in the Kansas, Missouri region, spreading hot air into those regions. And you have a high pressure system that's entering South Florida at this point. There is a 1,012 millibar low down in the down here. We will see what that does, and then this possible tropical feature here in the Gulf of Mexico continues to move west towards Texas. And we have a low pressure system here in Canada that is slowly moving to the south for Sunday. And then you have your strongest flow of winds is out from Utah, Wyoming, and Montana, and northwestern Colorado. And then on the other side here, you have stronger belt of wind coming down into upstate New York, into the Delaware Valley region of the mid-Atlantic. So here is Monday's pattern. You have a low that dropped down from Canada and is over Maine with a stronger wow, can't think today, with stronger flow coming down around the backside of the low down into upstate New York and into the mid-Atlantic. You have a high pressure system here off the southeast coast. You have a high pressure center here exiting Florida. You have a high pressure center, a weak high pressure center here that brings the heat from Texas, now goes into the Midwest. You have a 1,000 that's a 1,008 millibar low sitting in Nebraska. You have a high pressure system here, a weak one here in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming area. You have a developing low pressure system here in Utah, and a high pressure system here approaching the California coast. This is the upper air pattern for Tuesday. You have a low pressure system here over just north of Washington State with a small trough in the area. You have a high pressure system down here coming into California. The low pressure system here that has come ashore from the Gulf of Mexico is now sitting literally over the middle of Texas. And then you got two high pressure systems here, one in the Gulf of Mexico, one in the Midwest, which is providing the heat that is to come here in the Mid-South and the Midwest. And we got a trough digging back down from the northeast back to the southwest along the Mid-Atlantic coast. And this is starting to develop a split flow kind of pattern where you got the upper energy up here with a trough along the coast, and then you got your ridge here, and then you got a secondary piece linking up with the other main piece. Okay, this is Wednesday's upper wind pattern. You have a 1001 millibar low over Wyoming, a trough over western Montana, Idaho, and eastern Oregon. You also have a little bit of a trough here approaching the northeast. You have high pressure system here, literally over Chicago, and one down here in Georgia, providing the heat here in the Mid-South, the Southeast, approaching the Mid-Atlantic and the Midwest. You have a high pressure system down here in the Gulf of Mexico. And then that low pressure system that has that was over central Texas moves north and is now situated over Kansas. And this is your upper air pattern for Thursday the 29th. There is a 1,006 millibar low situated over New Mexico. You have a 1,013 millibar low sitting over the Carolinas, and you also have a 1,013 millibar low sitting off the Mid-Atlantic coast. Will that become tropical? We will see. There's also a low down there in Cuba. Is that going to be tropical? We will see. High pressure over the country of Mexico near the Texas border. And there's a high pressure system here coming into the northwest. There's a high pressure system here in southeastern Montana, and a high over here in the southeast. Um, there is a little weakness here, which is what was that low that went across the Gulf Coast into Texas and now is looping back around. And this is primarily what's left of it. Now we will go over the GFS model for precipitation for the next several days, starting with this afternoon. This has a 991 millibar low here in Montana. You got showers here along the northwest coast, Oregon and Washington. You know, showers and thunderstorms scattered about here in Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona. Again, the ones in Montana, bear watching for severe wind gusts. We have a batch of moisture here off the southeast coast, which could propagate inland overnight tonight with showers and thunderstorms, and a lot of showers and thunderstorms out here off the coast of Florida. This is the GFS rainfall forecast for the Saturday. Yeah, Saturday's 24th. So Saturday. Hit or miss showers and thunderstorms here, northern Nevada, northern California, Oregon. Looks like a developing low pressure system here in southwestern Colorado that will create showers and thunderstorms here in the Rockies. Showers and thunderstorms down here in Florida. And hit or miss showers and thunderstorms here in South Dakota, Minnesota, and some showers and thunderstorms here in Oklahoma and southeastern Arizona and far southwestern New Mexico. This is a look for Sunday. I have a 1003 millibar low sitting here in South Dakota. Showers and thunderstorms here in the Rockies. Showers and thunderstorms here in Florida along the Georgia coast. Showers in Maine. And widely scattered showers and thunderstorms here in Pennsylvania and into Ohio. And then that is it for Sunday. So going into Monday, showers and thunderstorms here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Got showers and thunderstorms here in the Four Corners region And this could be a big day for as far as severe weather is concerned on Monday. We have a 1,006 millibar low that's in Nebraska, and there's going to be some thunder showers and thunderstorms in a couple of locations here in Minnesota. That's also where the slight risk of severe weather is, and here in Montana and North Dakota. And showers and thunderstorms in Florida and the Georgia coast. As we go into Tuesday, we have a 1,008 low pressure center here over the Great Lakes. You have scattered showers and thunderstorms in Nebraska, Colorado, New Mexico, southeastern Arizona, and into parts of Texas. And you have widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in the northern tier of Washington, Idaho, and far northwestern Montana. And possibly some thunderstorms here along the North Carolina, Virginia beach areas. For Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms here in the Northeast with a 1,010 millibar low. Showers and thunderstorms here from Kentucky, Indiana, back up through Iowa into Minnesota, into North Dakota, South Dakota. Showers and thunderstorms scattered about in the Rockies, and also here in Missouri and Oklahoma and Kansas. So this is look on Thursday. You have showers and thunderstorms here in the southeast. Showers and thunderstorms here in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska. Showers and thunderstorms in the Rockies and into West Texas. So that is the look on GFS run of precipitation and the locations of them. Now look at temperatures for today. 60s and 70s here, primarily Northeast, Mid-Atlantic. 80s for the Southeast. 90s into Florida. 70s in the Midwest. 90s and 100s in the Mid-South with some 80s in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. We have a little bit of cooler air here of 50s, but primarily 80s here in the northern plains. You have 50s, a few 40s here in the northwest, and in the desert southwest, 80s and 90s. High temperatures tomorrow, 70s and 80s here in the northeast, 70s and 80s down here in the southeast and mid-Atlantic, 81 in Albany tomorrow, 77 in Bangor, 90s in Florida, 91 in Orlando, 92 in Fort Myers, For most part, 80s in the Midwest and the Great Lakes region, 80 near Detroit, uh, 89 in Springfield, Missouri, or Springfield, Illinois, excuse me. 90s and 100s in the plains. 110 possible in the panhandle of Oklahoma. 99 in Oklahoma City. 98 in Dallas. Mid 90s in Houston. 50s and 60s, maybe a few 40s here in the Northwest. And in the desert Southwest, primarily 90s. High temperatures for Sunday, primarily 80s. From northeast to the southeast, 90s and 100s. Mid-South, Central Plains, Texas, 80s in the Great Lakes region, 50s and 60s in the Northwest. Higher elevations in Colorado, we'll see 50s, otherwise 80s, and a few 90s in the plains section of Colorado. And in the desert Southwest, 90s. California, 70s. Highs for Monday, 70s and 80s in the Northeast, 80s and 90s, Mid-Atlantic into the Southeast, into Florida, 90s, 100s, and a 110 reading in Omaha, possible. 100 in Kansas City, 104 in Salina, Kansas, 99 in Oklahoma City, 95 in Dallas, mid-90s in Houston. The Northwest starts to warm up a little bit. So instead of 50s and 60s, we're now calling 60s and 70s. Higher elevations still in the 50s. And desert Southwest, 90s to around 100. And the California coast, middle 80s. Tuesday's high temperatures, 80s in the Northeast. Widespread 90s and 100s, Southeast Florida, Mid-South, Midwest, Central Plains. The highest of the heat, Little Rock, 104. And 104. Paducah, Kentucky. That's it. 101 in Evansville, Indiana. 102 possible up around Indianapolis. 100 in Salina, Kansas. 98 in Kansas City. 70s and 80s in the northern plains into Montana. 50s and 60s primarily in Oregon and Washington. 80s, 90s, and a few 100s here in the valleys of California and the desert Southwest. 100 possible in Las Vegas. Higher elevations in Colorado, 50s, otherwise 70s and 80s in the Front Range of the Rockies. High temperatures for Wednesday, 50s and 60s and a few 70s here in the interior Northeast, 80s, southern New England and Delaware Valley, 90s and 100s. In the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Florida, Texas, Mid-South, and parts of the Central Plains. 99 Kansas City, 107 in Paducah, Kentucky, 100 in Evansville, Indiana, 105 in Little Rock, 104 in Huntsville, Alabama, 103 in Birmingham, or Montgomery, I should say, 100 in Dallas, upper 90s in Houston, 50s and 60s here in the Northwest for much of Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington State. 80s, 90s, and a few 100s here in the desert Southwest, the valleys of California, and into Nevada. 100 for Las Vegas, 96 for Phoenix, and 101 along the California-Arizona border. And your high temperatures for Thursday, 60s and 70s for the Northeast, 80s and 90 and a few 90s in the Mid-Atlantic, 90s and 100s. Florida, Southeast, Mid-South, Tennessee Valley, Texas, Central Plains. 105 in Little Rock, 102 in Huntsville, 103 in Montgomery, 105 in Macon, Georgia, 98 in Augusta, 100 here in Spartanburg, 103 in the Florida Panhandle, 101 in Tallahassee, 103 in Jackson, Mississippi. So lots of hundreds out there. 106 in Paducah, Kentucky, again. 99 in Dallas, upper 90s in Houston. The northern tier, Northwest and Northern Plains, 60s and 70s and a few 50s. 70s into northern Nevada, 80s and 90s for the rest of the Southwest. That is all I have for you today. I hope everyone has a wonderful Friday afternoon and evening. I will talk to you again soon.